UFC 266, we've got Alexander Volkanovski fighting Brian Ortega for that strap. It's awesome. What a fight this is. Both doing the Ultimate Fighter, obviously, and that's why this fight has come about mainly. Other than Brian Ortega, since his loss to Max Holloway, he went away, reinvented himself a little bit, came back a more accomplished striker, and it showed against the Korean Zombie. How everyone thought, man, he's got to take Korean Zombie down, maybe he'd get a submission on him. People were talking like that, because his submission game is absolutely ridiculous. Like, what he's done with Henna Gracie, that is, he's been with him since he was a teenager. He's an absolute flawless black belt. He makes jiu-jitsu look so sleek and so easy, but you know, it's not. He doesn't use it that much, like at all. I know he tried to use it against Holloway. When he realised he was out of the depth with Holloway, with the striking and the volume and the cardio and all that stuff, his just pure toughness kept him in that fight. And that was his only loss. Remember that as well. I believe that he needs to use some jiu-jitsu here, because Volkanovski is the difference in power in this division. His striking against Chan Sung-yong was so good, but he never, I'm not going to say it was ever in doubt about knocking him out, because he really hurt him a few times, and he definitely can knock him out. Anyone can knock him out. You know, he uppercutted Frankie off the bloody floor. Frankie's a lot smaller though in this division, hence he's gone down again. What I'm saying is those little pop shots, those Max Holloway strikes, don't finish Volkanovski. Same as Brian Ortega, he's going to be hitting like that in my opinion. He's not hitting harder than Max Holloway. I think he's the same sort of power. I'm not saying he can't knock him out, I'm saying it's going to be very hard to win a whole decision when Max Holloway couldn't even do that against Alex Volkanovski. Something needs to be different. So what does Volkanovski do? Volkanovski turns up just a sharper version of his previous self. He is elite, he is incredible at wrestling, striking, cardio, ground. He can do it all. He is the ultimate MMA. Now, even though I believe Max Holloway did beat him 3-2, arguably 4-1 in the last fight, and yet he came out with a decision. It hurts me with the MMA gods and judges there, but it happens. Max ain't kicking himself too hard about it. I think he's upset that he didn't win, I'm sure. But since then, Max knows he's going to get that belt back, and he will. I really believe he will. There'll be a trilogy between those boys, no doubt about it in my mind. Volkanovski v Brian. Brian's way to victory to me is, I think he needs to get in with the grappling. Grappling isn't something that people do with Volkanovski because he was an ex-rugby player, because he has great strength, he has a great base, he has great takedowns, he is a wrestling phenom, I'm going to say, without even like providing the credentials for doing it. He is incredible. What we need to see from Brian is old school Brian. Brian versus Moicano, the scrambles, getting him in awkward positions, making him feel uncomfortable. The striking is there. Brian has the striking now. I'm afraid someone like Brian is going to be someone that's a wrestler that's fallen in love with their hands. You know, like an Usman. I'm worried that Usman's fallen in love with his hands when he fights Colby again. I hope Brian uses the whole game he's got, because it's up there. He can beat Volkanovski if he uses his whole game. But if he just uses his hands and just uses his distance and space, I think it's going to be a toe-to-toe bloodbath that he can't outperform Volkanovski in, if someone like Max can't perform him in. Now, stars make fights. Every fight is different. Volkanovski could be off on the night. Brian could be the best fighter in the world on the night. Who knows? But that's just my take. I think if Brian Ortega wins this fight though, you rematch him with Holloway. No doubt. If Volkanovski wins this, what do? Everyone's been beaten. And that's it. It's going to be just someone who's ranked 6-7 next, or you go with Max for a third. I mean, no one's going to be sour about that. He deserves it. It's going to be a wicked fight though. So what's going to happen? I really love Alex. He's brilliant. I really love Max. He's brilliant. I really love Brian. He's brilliant. They're all awesome people. They're all awesome fighters. This division is stacked. But it stands still for me. I really believe it stands still. I think Alex Volkanovski has enough experience now and title fights, especially with the 5-rounders. I'm not saying Brian hasn't. He's had 2. And they've gone the distance, all the 5. But I think Volkanovski can get this done. I think he's going to find a way. If he loses a round or 2, he knows he can get these rounds back. What he did against Max, you know, Max was peppering him with those shots in that first, and you're like, okay, he's leg kicking him now, you know, he's losing the round. Didn't care. He knew, I've got this. I've got this. Now, he didn't have it in my head, but you know what I'm saying. He can do this. I'm going to say Volkanovski by decision. I don't think he's going to knock Bryan out. I think Bryan's striking now is so elusive and so technical that I think he can avoid the big shots. I just don't think he has enough to put Volkanovski away, and I think Volkanovski's good at mixing it up to win a round. I think he's going to be the one like, I'm going to take you down, hold you down, win the round. I'm going to pressure against the cage, octagon control, win the round. He's after winning the round, whereas I think Bryan's going to just want a proper fight. And I think that might be his downfall. I hope I'm wrong, because I like seeing belts change. I don't like seeing one person necessarily decimate an entire division and reign it for years. I like seeing change, because then you get better matchups and you get better fights, you get rematches, you get cool things. Volkanovski for me though, as much as I'm kind of, you know, contradict myself there, UFC 266 I'm going to say, stand still. What do you guys reckon? Do you reckon it's Alex? Do you reckon it's Bryan? It's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm sure everyone else is. While to go yet, so let us know in the comments below what you reckon. Subscribe to the channel, guys, if you are new, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.